Are we live? Yes, we are.
Yeah,
Very good morning, Dr. Bhavin, sir. Welcome to all our viewers to episode number 12 of IT Talks, powered by IQAC. It's an initiative taken by Atharva Institute of Management Studies and basically Atharva Group of Institutes to encourage the increasing IT world around, so that we come to know what's going on around us, and we have more hands-on on the technology. So today with us we have Dr. Bhavin Shah. He's basically working as an HOD of in Department of Electronics Engineering at Atharva College of Engineering, Mumbai. He is having an 8.7 years of experience in teaching experience basically, and 4.8 years of industry experience. He has published 29 papers in international journals and 9 papers in international conferences. His expertise include robotics, automations, microprocessors, circuit theory, and networks, and many more things which are endless and countless. He is working as a coordinator and team member of Atharva Robotics Center ARIA, coordinator and team member of Atharva ICEL. He and his team secured second rank in the Global Entrepreneurship Exchange GE2 Idea Pitch Contest UMass Lowell, USA, and IUCEE connected activity. Recently, he has been selected as an innovation ambassador of IIC, Ministry of Education's Innovative Cell, for the IIC calendar year of 2020-2021. So, very first of all, before beginning with the episode, I'd like to congratulate sir for getting selected at this post, and it's a really honor, and we are privileged to have a session with you, sir. So, the very first thing during this pandemic comes out is, how are you doing, sir? How are you doing at your place right now?
I'm doing good and hope each one of us who is watching here right now are safe and doing good as well.
Perfect, sir. Perfect. And so basically, that the topic which today we are discussing, it's Industry 4.0, right? The fourth industrial revolution. So before discussing about the topic, or before discussing what it is, I just want you to tell our viewers what basically it contains. What are the things it has, on what basis it's going to be happening. Like what is the major things which like a basic idea about those things.
Uh, yeah, Shivang. Before I start, greetings to all the participants and many thanks to all the organizers for getting this inquisitive idea of going online on the tech talks on the way of IT talks and connecting people during this difficult times of pandemic and spreading awareness on technical as well as overall uh, equally important topics of various insights on different domains. Uh, Coming to the question that what exactly is Industry 4.0. So basically, prior we start to Industry 4.0, Shivang, let me just go through the past few years history on when we were not talking about Industry 4.0. This all starts from the very well beginning that we started growing step by step, progressing towards the industrial revolutions. Years after years, research took place. Many manufacturing capacities kept on changing over the period of years. Market turnovers drastically started turning out from 2 digits to 3 digits to multiple digits now. The manufacturing capacities and the volumes India has increased from millions and trillions in the year. So this all that starts few years back. Then we were not using automation. The India was very much well known for their labors,
Yes, yes, yes.
and this is all that we changed from labor's mindset to the technological mindset. That never means that we are ignoring the labors, but of course our journey from labors to skilled labors was really exciting, and this is where we all started at. So few years back, all the works that were done manually were slowly, steadily were being replaced by machineries, automatic machineries. connected factory capacities, inline productions, and many more. And when we now come on to the era of 21st century, we call it as Ice Age. And
Yes,
IoT been a very important and vital part of it, as we now see the ads on the TV. Before reaching the home, use the IoT, switch on your AC. So when you enter your home, your room is chill.
exactly.
And that is what is applied to the industry as well. So even if you are not at the place, the manufacturing should not stop. And there are various aspects of Industry 4.0.
Hmm.
There is AR, VR, there is connected factory capacity lines, there is cyber physical securities, and various others which all brought into one branch to run the industry. And the whole evolution has now been clubbed and been termed by Industry 4.0.
Yes, yes, perfect, so perfect. So, as you told about this, the thing that is there will be IoT in that, and there will be big data in that. So, basically, the people who are from non-technical background, the viewers will be viewing us from the non-technical background. It's also very important for them to know what basically is IoT, what is Internet of Things, what is big data, so that they get a fair idea about this thing. Ki, theek hai, like this is something which they are discussing. So I just want a brief, like just a short, because those are such big topics that we can have an entire IT Talk session on IoT separately and big data separately. So just
Exactly.
a small brief on that, so that our viewers get to know and we get a much more clarity on that.
In a layman's language, let me go through some good examples that we may hardly been observing. Let me again put it out. We may hardly be observing. Uh, have we ever seen our electricity bills carefully?
No, only the two things which we look at it is the
Our
units
first thing
number
that
and
goes
kitna
on
kya aaya hai.
electricity bill is the number of figures. It ranged from 2000 to 8000.
Hmm.
Suddenly, from 2000 in the summers, the bills comes around 5000 to 8000. The fluctuating variations.
Yes.
But at the very bottom part towards the right end, they shows you the graph and they show you the consumptions.
Hmm.
How
Hmm.
it happens. So if you carefully observe that, they show you and they'll make you alert. In May 20 or in June 20, you had consumed so and so units. Your number of units has increased from May 20 to May 21. Kindly
Yes. Yes.
check what you have added on or where you are using more or what is the probable cause of raising, so you can go through it. Maybe you are not using a BWE 5-star appliances, or maybe you have added something which is increasing the load. So how they are going to get this? Now they are not sending you a personal message. They have lakhs of people to send and generate the bills every month, right? And this could not be possible unless they are collecting data from you. And
Okay.
in rightly said that in the ice age, now the new age has begun, that is the data quench. All
Hmm.
your data are collected and stored onto highly secured servers by the big giants, wherein they used to learn your data. And we talk about learn, we are exactly talking of what you are doing, something what you are consuming every day, every month, every year, so that the data science experts may easily be able to evaluate that, put it into right figures, and may be used for progressions. And once I learned that, yeah, this was my data May 20 and this is my data May 21, I can easily compare, I can rectify it out, and I can appropriately proceed ahead
Appropriate
for
from that.
modifications, if any. And this is what
Oh,
exactly these big data and IoTs help in doing such things. I'll not stop to big data. There are many things like machine learning, artificial intelligence. There are many terminologies which we cannot go. We'll stick to the topic. We can have absolutely a separate sessions if we need, and that we may probably keep it more technical onto that regards.
That's what I said, sir, because being from an technical background, I understand that big data and IoT are such large topics that there are such vast things in that even if we take a one subtopic, we can have an entire discussion on it entire day. So I just wanted to give you a brief discussion on that, and that's very thankful to you, and it was very good explanation, sir. So basically, now my next question is, what is the purpose of this thing? What is the purpose of fourth industrial revolution, which is called as Industry 4.0? What was the purpose of it?
Now, basically, Industry 4.0, it's been termed as something new to every one of us. But if we carefully observe the parameters the Industry 4.0 decides are nothing but a club of various available technologies onto one platform or manufacturing industry. This is what we need to understand and why there was a need of this. Let me again come back to the same example. Maybe I'll just switch it off from electricity to a milk production industry.
Okay.
How much consumption we do every single day?
Mm.
It has been consumed by all the families globally. Now, if I do not know what is the volume I need to produce, what is my market size, what is my own capacity, what is my reach, how much could I produce, how much labor would I require, what is the exact machineries that I'll require to process the milk. The raw milk needs to be pasteurized.
Yes.
Until and unless I do not know, I'm not set for that manufacturing task. Of course, there are domestically available milks. You can just directly go and purchase them ready. But then to serve these huge volumes, you need to have that mindset. And without automation, no one can do that. It's next to impossible. And then it does not mean that automation comes and the labors are out. We are nowhere saying that we are creating a sense of panic into the laborers that your jobs would be still. Of course, the focus is shifting to the automation side, but we are changing the labor's mindset to the skilled labor mindset. And when you skill your laborers, if the laborers has to do pick and place, palletize, everything manually, and if the same thing could be done by machineries and they just have to run the machineries and observe the things, I don't think so that there would be pain in the laborers to do so. Only a few skill sets are required, and then we are changing them to that. And this is where Industry 4.0 comes into picture. Now, when I talk about this labors to skilled labors, is a part of it. They are not completed by just changing labors to skilled labors. Now we come on to the volumes. As we took the discussion on the electricity bills, we'll have to consider the volumes of the milk as well. So unless and until I do not know how much consumption is there, for example, in a day in the month of May, the consumption of milk volumes are almost 30% more than the one which was being consumed in December. How would I be able to produce that? And this is where the background of that software part, the data science, would be required, which needs to be mapped with the machineries. So that one when enters, well in advance, it will give an alert that in the December, the consumption was this much. There would be a requirement of 30% rise in the volume as compared to the May 20 figures that you have been received. And so far, we'll be able to get that raw materials arranged for processing and our factory capacity built to that level that we are ready to serve that 30% more volume in the upcoming May 2021. So this is all that we are learning. We are keeping on generally learning the data, and then we are connecting it to that. And then finally it comes to the integration of everything. When we integrate the whole thing, that even if a labor is not present, or if I'll just put it, an employee is absent, but it does not mean that my factory capacity line should stop. Running an industry is not a joke.
Exactly.
the entrepreneur, whomsoever is XYZ, knows the pain of running it
Hmm.
and the cost that he's been investing every single day. And if a single capacity line fails to run, there are huge losses per day in coding day. And then this is what IoTs comes into picture, that even if you are not able to go physically there, but with the help of cyber physical systems and IoTs, you may be remotely able to control your factory capacity lines. And if any error comes, you'll be alerted on your particular software if you're operating through a desktop machine or onto the mobile. And when we club all these get all together,
Hmm.
this comes into a revolution of Industry 4.0.
Perfect. So perfect. So as you mentioned a point in between that, yeah, we are not trying to create a panic between the employees. Ki employees will be removed off a shelf law. So my next question comes on that point itself to you, sir. That what will be the effect on employment of this industrial revolution? Because industry basically, whenever there is an industry or a technology introduced, technology is basically introduced to reduce the manpower. It is basically reduced to introduced to reduce the human effort. So how much will it affect employment of the employees when this technologies and this industries are being introduced in the market?
Let me again come to a single point that it's a good saying globally, believe in the change.
Mhm.
And one who fails to do so, the time has gone. We have heard the term rags to riches.
Yes, yes.
Then riches to rags is also true. There are
Hmm.
many such examples available in the market. So it's a well said in the manufacturing industry that you'll have to be well technologically updated and up to date with the market. Otherwise, the competitors may take over and you will be no more in the market.
Hmm.
When we talk about this, of course, an entrepreneur mindset is always to improve their own factory capacity build-ups. But it is not at the cost of getting a recession, right?
Hmm.
Employees are not losing their jobs. We need to understand that. This is the phobic mindset of most of the labor class peoples, that they feel that if some machinery comes, then it indirectly means that we have been going to lose our jobs. It's not about losing the jobs. It's all about creating a value of the job. The job that a
Hmm.
labor would have been done. I took an example of picking and placing. So if you go went through this shopping malls or any grocery shop, big grocery shop, let me put that. I have been seeing laborers that they used to handle that 10 kgs of wheat bags or the raw materials bags to store in the places. Now it's been operated by a forklifter. Now, if a person who
Hmm.
has been doing that job manually is getting so much of pain, body aches, whatnot, who's going to understand it? But if that particular employee or the labor is been trained to operate the forklift, what he or she has to do? Just sit in that forklift machine, go to that cart, lift it, place it there. I'm talking about the big ones, not
Yes.
on the smaller grocery shops. Of course, that forklifter is not possible in the small parts.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
So this is what
So,
is, we are changing the laborers into skilled laborers. That does not mean that we are losing onto jobs. We are skilling onto the jobs.
hmm. Perfect. Perfect.
Creating
So,
more
this is
value.
this is a kind of a disruptive technology, right? Like this is a kind of a thing which happens during a disruptive technology. So if we look at this thing that this thing on the perspective of disruptive technology, how would you explain that in terms?
Basically, when we talk about disruptive technology, of course, whenever there is a technology which sweeps onto everyone,
Hmm.
then we term it as a disruptive technology. But then the adoption should be at that pace.
Okay.
Now, the investments that is been included for establishing an industry 4.0 based factory capacity line is too high.
mm, mm,
First of all, entrepreneurs should understand that whether they actually need that, and this is all would be decided on what is the volume that they are producing and what is the market size. Unless that is not clear, I will again take an example that if I'm going to have an industry 4.0 small shops, I'm just wasting my money onto that because my volume is the only the area which I'm serving. There are many grocery shops available in a kilometers
mm.
area. But
Yes.
the same if I'll consider with the factory capacity inlines which are turning out into the volumes of numbers and who
Mm,
requires huge number of people to run their machineries, but they are not well organized. As I already discussed, that if we do not know what is the volume will be required in the upcoming days, I may not meet up to the market, and then probably there will be a lack of supplies. Demand and supplies plays a major role. I hope all my MBA participants would have understood this
mm.
much more than the technical ones. And if I lose
Yes.
on to the demand and supply, the moment I do that, I'm already out of the market. So this is what entrepreneurs should understand, that if you have a huge demand and if you are unable to supply that, then it's a need that you should switch to industry 4.0, because this is all which helps you out for the better production, for the better factory capacity manufacturing. For FMS, of course, industry 4.0 does not mean that you are stick to one. There is a term known as FMS, flexible manufacturing system. So you can easily adapt to the changes and you can do modification into your inline capacity factories.
Perfect, perfect. That was a great explanation, sir. So basically, talking about industrial revolution, I guess the till the amount which I have read about it, it's basically an revolution started basically in Germany and Russia.
Yeah,
So basically, I wanted to know what would be the effect of this industry 4.0 in India. Like as you told that though the labors will be turned into skilled labor, but India with the manpower in abundance, right? We have so much of manpower that even if we keep per job 10%, then also there will be some people who will have to give them a different job. So how will this industrial revolution affect companies and employment in India, particularly in India?
see, I'll just go to your question itself. Even if we give 10 jobs, there are someone who is waiting for the job. And
Yes.
that's the truth. I'll say that. Because whenever we see it in a larger picture, the number of people required to do the jobs
Mm,
and the waiting list for the persons are in abundance. Now, what happens here is whenever we talk about a disruptive technology, that means whenever we are replacing any factory capacities, labor's work to from a manual labors to automation, there's a phobia that I'm losing on to the jobs, or maybe I'll require less number of people for the operations.
mm,
This is the myth.
mm.
See, I already spoke one word and I again repeating it. We are talking about volumes.
Yes.
And when there is high level of volumes and productions, how come it would lose the jobs? In fact, it would create the jobs. But of course, it would never lose the jobs. Yes, I'll again push a word that I've been pushing out throughout my session, that the labors would be created into the skilled labors. A change would be required, and that could be
Yes.
done easily.
Mm,
In fact, government of India had started a very good scheme a few years back, National Skill India Development. So the whole motto was that we need to convert the laborers into the skilled laborers, and now we are
mm.
progressing towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. And of course, mark my word that there would be no loss of jobs. But yes, if we are talking about volumes, it may rather create jobs. And the jobs that they have been now doing manually, that they have been fearing that they'll be stealing the jobs if the industry 4.0. So let me very much be clear, it's not about creating jobs or stealing jobs. Industry 4.0 is about skilling jobs.
Yes. Okay. So basically, like we have received a question. So before proceeding ahead, we have a question. I'll like to take the question from Abhinay Kardile, sir. So basically, sir is asking that how to manage FMS in MSME as per technology perspective, as it is not easy as per investment point. What is your opinion, sir?
Basically, I'll again come to this. The name itself says MSME. So now we'll have to just stick to that word. I already told you volumes.
Yes.
So if my company wish to produce a huge volume to meet the demand and supply, of course,
Mm.
there are many things. There are many things that you could do on the investment perspective. Nowadays, foreign investment has increased in India, looking towards the potential that India can do. See, I'll just again put this. Uh, During the pandemic, when we just entered into the pandemic zone somewhere in December, mid-December, uh, we were not producing mask in that quantity.
Mm. Yes.
N95 mask, we had to get it from outside.
Yes.
With
Yes.
the help of in-house investments and support from GOI, the MSMEs are now capable to produce bulk of N95 mask, and in fact we are now exporting it out.
Yes. Exactly.
So of course, when we talk about investment point of view, as an entrepreneur mindset, it's it's a very painful decisions. It requires a lot of brainstorming before any investments. But yes, for anything that we start, we have to consider some risk factor, and they are calculated risk factors.
Mm.
To progress, this is the important and vital role. That is, if you are not able to take the risk, you may later on in the after years would say your own self that it would have been better that if I had taken that risk the other competitor has taken, because the
Yes.
competition is too huge. If you are not ready to take the risk, someone else will take the risk and will progress.
Mm.
So there are risks, but they are calculated risks, and there are handholdings, of course, for the MSMEs from GOI and from various other institutions. So the entrepreneurs would definitely know about these things.
Perfect. So perfect. So as you told that we'll be sticking to one word, volume and volume production and everything. I just like want you to give a brief idea of what basically volume means in terms of industries and in terms of industrial revolution. What does volume means?
When you talk about volume, exactly, I again and again repeated in my sessions that volumes, and you had rightly guessed that word volume. So
Yes.
let me put a good example onto this. Now, suppose as a sweet shop,
Mm.
I am running my own sweet shop. I am creating a good sweet, which I am just serving it in an area. How much volume do I require?
Comparatively, like on a daily
Comparatively,
basis.
so suppose I'll name that quantity as peda.
Mm.
Now, when I talk about peda, it's not easy because they have shelf life.
Yes.
I have to consume it within a week, otherwise it will go off. It will
Mm.
ruin. Environmental effects would work, and you'll have to throw that out. So, if I'm serving in single area, if I'm having a good product, but now these things I'm limited to offer. Why? Because I'm running on a small scale.
Mm.
Now, when I change my mindset that no, now I know that my product is good, the demand would be more if I'll go on to the larger volumes, if I'll satisfy a larger market size. And I decide that at least not globally or not country wise, at least even if I feel that I want to go city wise, that I want to serve a particular city in whole, of course that
Hmm.
small shop would not help me. I would require a factory that could produce volumes of it. I'll require demand. I'll have to learn the demand and supply. I'll have to go
Hmm.
through that particular phase that the marketing people used to do. That what is the requirement? What is so unique that I would be able to sell this product? What is so unique that I've been creating this product which no other competitors is having that. Once that is the mindset, you are progressing towards the industry 4.0, because the volumes has drastically now increased from an area to a city to a continent to a country to or globally. Whatsoever the volumes may be based on what product you are selling it on and what is the requirement in the, like in the manufacturing industry when we talk about automobiles, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
automobiles are the one who have been using automations at large, and no single manufacturers or the producers of the automobiles produces all its parts. They all depend on the child parts from various small factories. They are the running capacity lines who used to assemble that parts. They do not make each and every part. They design, but they get themselves the raw materials required from the industries, from the neighboring industries, from the one who has been making or who is there in that particular field from years.
Hmm.
And this is where we talk about the volumes. If you talk about, if I'll just take an example, if I manually build a car,
Hmm.
how much would I will be able to create a car in a day? If I'm having, if even if I'm using a whole lot of labors, uh,
Hmm.
maybe hardly around 50, 100. Maybe if I'm using too much of labor, let me put out 200. Uh, Now my people in the management would have come to know that if I automate it out, what is the production volume of Maruti's, Tata's per day? There
Hmm.
is no comparison between 200 and that volume, because the demand is more,
Hmm.
and they have been producing huge numbers to serve that.
Yes.
Hope I was been
Perfect.
able to put you out on
Yes, yes, yes. Because the because that the as you told that checking around volume is important, so it was also pretty much important for our viewers to know what basically volume means. What is it being talked about? So basically, as you told that industrial revolution, this thing, the entire thing is based on technology and everything. But still, then again, being in India, I'll majorly talk about things in India. So majorly, the companies in India like to go the traditional way. They follow the traditional approach. They follow the traditional way in how they want to go ahead with the stuff. So how would 4IR will be affecting traditional companies? How will be important for them to come up with this, or how will be the total overall effect of 4IR on traditional companies?
See, this is what I want to put. It's all about learning the taste first. So, who are my target customers? What is their choice? Whether they are investing in handicrafts or they like modernizations. So, let me put a very good examples. We have been using plates, everyday plates. Now, uh, in south part, they use plates made from banana leaves.
Hmm.
Here we use paper plates.
Yes.
So this is what we need to learn. That, as you rightfully said, that some people's love their traditions, but then to before proceeding for any sort of industries to set up for that particular product, it is to be well known that what I am serving, to whom am I serving, what is my area of serving, what is their taste, and
Hmm.
what is that I am offering them. Before that, we could not set up an industry. So this is what we are respecting the traditions. There is nowhere that we are challenging any traditions. This is where the term FMS comes, flexible manufacturing system. So there are industries in India who serves different regions, and based on
Hmm.
that regions, they make their products available.
Yes.
So we are nowhere playing with the traditions. In fact, we are adapting multiple traditions to serve them at large
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
when we talk about Industry 4.0.
Okay. So basically, sir, like then again, I have this small question. Like still, there are some people, there are some companies who are reluctant to change, or they don't want to change. They wanna believe in that traditional approach itself. They wanna go ahead with the saying that old is gold, and we'll stick with what we have. So is it a kind of a dead end for those industries or those manufacturers that if they keep on staying with the traditional approach and they don't go ahead with this thing of the 4IR?
See, I again would focus on the word volume. The one who sticks to that, of course, there is no loss. Please
Hmm.
mark it. They have their own area to serve. So the small industries, if they do not want to grow, it does not mean that they are out of the market. Of
Hmm.
course, if they are not adapting the technology which is needed, of course, they are not producing or changing the mindset of what the consumer needs. Uh, unless they are not doing that,
Hmm.
it won't affect. The moment
Okay.
they become stubborn that no, I'll produce this and this is the best product available,
Hmm.
there is a danger line. The moment
Okay.
a manufacturer understands a consumer is a fool, there is a weak point and a narrow margin that any moment he or she may be out. Right? So adoption is a part of it, but that does not mean that if someone is coming with Industry 4.0, then that would drastically affect all the small scale industries. Right? They are
Hmm.
there the moment they are in touch with their consumers' need and they are satisfying that, they have their own market.
Okay. Perfect, sir. So as we are majorly talking about skilled labors over the period of time, so I want to ask you a question on both the perspectives, on the employee's perspective and from the perspective of companies. So very firstly, I'll ask from the employee's perspective. What all things or what all things you think an employee must do to be like to survive? As you told that you need to survive, and and for the survival you need to change. So what are the changes or what are the things you think that an employee should inculcate in themselves so that they can survive this upcoming 4 hours, so that they can be one of the best performance for the organizations and achieve the goals they want? What are the changes you think that what are the things or what are the new things they need to learn from this?
Uh, for the employee's perspective, it's always stay in trend with the latest and the recent technologies in the market. It does not mean that they have to do a major revamp onto their learning skills. It's all about understanding the product. And it also does not mean that each and everything available in the market would be equally of important to that particular industry. It again means that what I am serving and what I need. Industry 4.0
Hmm.
again is a very huge term. There are many things involved into it, but it does not mean that every single factory would require all of its components,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So now let me put it in the way that uh, many big giants have started with this. So earlier, when someone used to employ a fresher, they used to have their training before they go into the factory capacity lines. Where there are huge machineries. If they made a single mistake, then I may face a severe damage to my factory capacity line. So no one wants to take that risk. So they used to first train them. There is a period
Hmm.
of waiting from 1 month to 6 months or to a year based on what skills they want their employees to develop. Now then they have
Hmm.
their own trainers which train them. But this was all going manually. Slowly, steadily, it now changed.
Hmm.
So AR, VR, I'll talk about AR, VR, right? Augmented reality, virtual reality. With the inclusion
Hmm.
of all these technologies, now what the big giants have started doing, of course, the manual trainers are there on the place, but for more practical approach, post training, they used to have them with they are AR and VR sets. So what they can do, they'll just weld that frame, the goggles that's needed. They'll just look at that particular component, and then they'll be asked to join. And what they have done is pre-program of. I'll just take an example of engine blocks. So now the automobile industries have started this. So now if I want to train my labor to or an employee to build an engine block, how I'll be able to do? Of course, first I'll go for a manual part. What are the parts of these parts and components of the engine blocks? I'll teach them. Then I'll want them to do practicals. So now how the practicals are done? If I'll just keep the hardware part on in front of them, it's not that easy for me that in a single lecture or in 5 days I'll be able to train them. But then yes, of course, after every lecture I'll give them a goggles. I'll tell them do the practicals. In the AR VR, they are teaching them. This part number 1, this will connect to 1.1. This part number 2, this will connect to 1.2. If they keep on practicing these things over a period of time, maybe in a week or 10 days, they are majorly well in terms of each and every part of that particular engine block. And maybe what I was developing a skilled laborers in a time of 6 months, I may be able to develop that in a much better way in a lesser time.
Exactly. So this is something as you told that from the employee's point of view. Now now coming to the point of company. What all things you think that company should do? What all steps you think that company should do so that they find out what is best for them? As you told that 4IR is something that's really huge. It can't every company or every industry won't need that. So what all steps should a company should take so that they come to know what is required from for them out of all those things, and what all steps they should take so that they turn their labors into a skilled labor, so that there is no loss of jobs or loss of employment also, or loss of labors also, and also their labors are pretty much happy, because when you train them, then that's the only point wherein they'll be able to cope up with you, or else they'll have to switch to some other thing. So what all steps a company should take?
For this, Shivang, I'd like to go to the FMCGs. Now, each one of us know that FMCG is such market that even if I'll come up with one more company offering the same thing, it's gonna work. Let me talk about the chips, a chips factory. There are ample of companies in the market. Even if I'll bring my own company a day after, I'm pretty much sure that my company is going to work. The reason is the market is too huge. People are going to eat something or the other. FMCG is such market. And then when I'm talking about adapting to it. So now again I told you that as an entrepreneur, once I decide that I want to serve a huge area, once I decide as an entrepreneur that yes, I want my volumes from single figure to 3 times in the figures, my reach to the consumers, that I wish that these chips should be liked and ate by almost all the consumers. The brand, of course, that plays a major role, and brand is something that you cannot create in a day. You require a good will and years of experience onto that, serving areas wherein people will have faith in you, trust in you. Marketing is one aspect of that, but only marketing would not survive unless the product is good. Marketing is pretty good and the product fails to serve that, the moment that happens, you're out. So equally, both are very much important, that my product is equally good and the marketing as well, and that which all over a period of time creates that brand. And once I reach that stage, I'm pretty much ready to serve that volume, and I'm ready to adapt to that. And when as an entrepreneur's mindset, once they decide that I want to go for the huge volumes, of course, this is the very much step that they will parallelly learn for the laborers, for upgradation of the laborers. Because investing something huge, it is not a day's work, that if I invest crores of rupees in this and it would be ready in a day. It would take some time to build that particular part. But at the same time, parallelly, they could upgrade their own laborers or their employees to that level, that once that factory capacity is available, they'll be easily able to adapt that. So this is all which goes hand in hand.
Hmm. Yes, perfect. So as you told that these are the things. Before moving on to the other side, I'll just I just want you to give a uh, brief thing on what basically will be the advantages of 4IR if it comes if it comes down market, especially in our market, in Indian market. What will be the overall advantages of a fourth industrial revolution for the people around, for the common man, for the companies, for the benefit of nation, for the employees, Indian economy, everything overall? Just if you can brief it enough.
See, the preciseness of whatever is being manufactured would increase. So if I'm talking about a single product which I'm been able to produce with the help of a manual task,
Hmm.
I'll be uh, close enough for the first 10 productions. After that, environmental factors, human error factors, and various others would add on to that.
Hmm.
It would start increasing my errors in that particular product, which in turn, if I am relying onto the automation part, which has good repeatabilities over 0.3 per seconds,
Hmm.
which are built for working in 24/7 robust environment. Of course, the product that I would be creating would be uh, pretty better than what I'll be able to do so in a good volumes. It does not mean that the one which has been created manually are bad. No, not at all. But when we talk about volumes, there are chances of errors, and automation is the part wherein we talk about volumes. When
Hmm.
we talk about creating 32 pieces of a single idol in a minute, pretty much impossible by a single human being to create 32 idols in a minute. If we are talking about the small idols that we see in the shops as a showpiece, but then when
Hmm.
we automate it out, of course, the same task, I just require a CAD CAM software. I need a good designer. I need someone who can operate at my technician level line, and then I'm good to go, and I'm producing it in huge without errors or with minimum errors or
Hmm.
negligible errors which are visible to my need tags.
Okay. Okay. That was a really good thing you have told about fourth IR. But there are some few points which I feel like I need to have a word on this also with you. So basically, as we are running into too much of technology right now, right? We are surrounded by technology right from the moment we sleep till the moment, like while sleeping also we are surrounded by, while we are waking up we are not even left out with the technology. So aren't we running in too much with the technology so that it will be causing harm at the later end of our part? Aren't we just risking ourselves while we are running into too much of technology?
So far
Though
as
it's
we are
necessary,
in
but
the
still.
control of using the technology, we are not at all in any risk.
Okay.
See, even if we are walking or we are doing exercise, we are at a risk. We are not using any technology. I am doing a push-ups. What technology I am using? But yes, I do not know the right way to do the push-ups.
Hmm.
Of course, I'll harm myself. So it's all about learning the technology in the right way. Of course, there are
Hmm.
pros and cons of technologies, but then if as a person's perspective, as an individual perspective, if you think over that you want to use the technology in the right way, there is
Hmm.
no harm unless you are tampering with the technologies.
Okay. So majorly now, my next question is as I think there are no disadvantages of anything, there are no cons as such, but still there are some challenges. So what are the challenges that an industry, or what are the challenges that will be faced during this fourth industrial revolution, the industry 4.0?
Exactly. So there are major challenges which the fourth industrial revolutions comes with brings with it.
Hmm.
Possibly the first challenge is what our friend Abhinay Kardile had asked us on
Hmm.
the investment point of view. of course the investment would be too huge, and that's the financing is the major challenge. When you decide that you want to progress towards something new, finance comes as a major role, that whether I would be able to get that much of investments to build
mm,
to the need what an entrepreneur mindset has decided for that progression.
mm.
Secondly, I again said you the risk factor, the calculated risk factor that is always involved in all businesses. I would not term it only for industry 4.0. The
Yes,
calculated
yes.
risk factors are equally applicable to all the small scale industries,
Mm.
each one of us, because
Exactly,
we,
exactly.
if we are not ready to take that risk, of course we will not be able to progress in our life.
Mm.
And finally, the demand and supply, whether what I am going for industry 4.0, actually there is a supply for that or not. So suppose if I'm generating for the volumes which I could easily serve with my present industry efficiently, and then I'm thinking for the same thing of investment to industry 4.0, just for the sake of that I want something high infrastructure for that.
Mm.
That's not a valid point. You really need to understand the market first, the demand and supply.
Mm.
Of course, with industry 4.0, it would make it easy for an entrepreneur to understand that, because it will it has a clause of learning of the data, alerting them for their production line factory capacities, what would be your production required based on the comparisons of few past years of data. But
Mm.
then even after learning, if you are not in reach of that volume that you need to serve, the investment
Mm.
would fail, because finally it's all about ROI. And of
Yes.
course, ROI would not happen in a day or two, or maybe not in a year or 2 years when you invest in such huge teams. But of course, it is sure that in the coming 5 years, you will the turnover would be almost the double of what they might have been doing at the present, with a calculated risk factor that I always tell that it's
Mm.
pre-calculated, and you should be ready to take that risk so that you can go towards the progression of that particular business.
Perfect, perfect, so perfect. So you have answered my question really very well, sir. So basically, now coming on to the next part, whereas this is something you have explained about IR, fourth IR, what will it will be doing, what are the things it will be bringing in. So now my question comes is the current freshers batch, or the current people who are learning, who will be getting into the job down the line, they'll be working for next 5 to 10 years. What would be your opinion for each and every fresher who is coming in or having a least experience of 1.5 years, 2 years of experience? So, what are the opinions we'll be giving to all those students and employees? Like I'm also one of them, so that they can cope up with this quickly rising IR force, so that they are not in a state of panic.
Basically, for the freshers and for the one who are presently studying, first of all, the mindset has to be very much clear of what domain they need to work, what is their expertise, where they are good, so whether they are well fit for the hardware
Hmm.
industry or where they are well suited for the software industry. This is the very first step that they should decide, right? It would not be a easy step, but yes,
Hmm.
should know their own capabilities to the best. Until and unless I do not know the work which I could do the best, I may not be able to take a good decision, right?
Hmm.
The moment you are ready with that answer, you are good to go enough into that particular domains. There are very recent technologies and domains being made available. Name it as robotics to IoT to AR and VR to data
Hmm.
science to whatnot. But then
Hmm.
before or prior entering to any of these domains, first have a mindset that what are you good at and what is your best suited domain. And once
Hmm.
you answer that, you are all set to go there.
Perfect. That was a great answer. So that will, I think, so that will really help me, so that I can select a proper job or proper profession which I want.
Thank you.
Coming to next question, that this is something which we as aspirants or we as students need to do. Coming to the question, that what a teacher, a mentor, or the people who are like teachers for us in schools and colleges, what are the things they must teach us apart from the syllabus, or apart from the things which they need to teach us, so that once they come down to the market, they have an hands-on knowledge about what is going on in the market? Because in school we never get a in schools or colleges we're never going to get an hands-on knowledge of what is going on in the current world, right? We only get it once we are down into the market. So, what all things you think that things must be included or inculcated in students, so that when they come down, when there's a time when they come down to working professional, or when they are working professionals, they are pretty much aware that this is the situation and these all things are there. We need to cope up with, and they are mentally prepared for that.
Exactly. Uh, of course, it may not start onto the level of the schools, but yes, once you progress towards your higher educations or towards your graduations,
Hmm.
right? This is the stage where it all starts.
Hmm.
This is where a student starts thinking of earning something post their studies. What is the job that he or she is looking for? And this is the right place where you could offer multiple of various different domain type of courses to them. But
Yes.
then again, based on the curriculars, is not sufficient to suffice in the present market size. So once
Hmm.
I, of course, this all the basics, foundations, what I'm studying, curricular is good. But over and
Hmm.
above that, you need the handholding that what is been there in the recent market strategies, in the recent technological updates in the market. And
Hmm.
this is what is been focused on at this
Hmm.
particular stage, and that's been offered by every institute on the name of webinars, seminars, workshops, which are
Hmm.
taken over and above the regular curriculum. Apart from that, now the internships has been made compulsory for all the engineering students.
Yes. Yes.
Internship is a part wherein the students learns the practical approachabilities of the things that they are learning. They used to
Hmm.
contact and get in touch with the industries. There was a big gap when this was not happening, because
Hmm.
what happened is we were close to a single institute wherein we are just learning and doing practicals of what is been taught. When they have been
Hmm.
exposed to do internships in the companies, students starts finding that what is the right company that I would need, where should I do the internships, because internships carries a lot many value. When you do an internship, that means you are deciding that what is the domain that you have selected, and then
Yes.
what is the project that you are doing. Again, that will decide that what is your progression towards this topic.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is one part. Secondly, the GOI has also been more focused into the CII activities. So every institute runs their own CII activities. Uh, let me put it out that there was a few years back there was a huge gap between the industry and the technical institutes or the institutes. Let me name it as a general institutes. The gap was
Hmm.
I was producing students for the things that I was not doing what the industry needs, and then the industry people has to train that particular students so that they'll be able to adapt. So what was happening in due course of time, I'm already training people, but then the domain was not specific. Then based on the job that I get, then I'll have to take extra training onto that, and then eventually in the whole scenario a lot of time was getting wasted in the name of training the peoples so that
Hmm.
they'll be able to cope up with their industry needs.
Hmm.
Now, when we are getting an handholding on the name of CSR activities, this is what very good thing that the government of India has done. So what they have
Hmm.
done is every company has now have to do the CSR activities,
Hmm.
and in their CSR activities, spreading awareness on the technologies is one of the important CSR activities of all the major companies. And this is where they come up with various courses that they offer during the summer internship programs or during the running time program as a technical part, or based on what the industry is. Maybe for the marketing it may be something else, but then they offer a course of what they are good at, of what they need, and this is what gives a good handholding even to the students and even to the institute to stay in touch with the industrial approach need, and not only to the need what is there based on the curriculum. And this is where the whole gap has now been closely been getting closer and closer, and probably the time that it was required that post graduation allow to train some students so that he or she would be able to come up in my industry has now started in the institute itself with all these activities and with the help of the CSR ones. So internships, CSR activities, workshops, webinars, seminars, and various other things over and apart from the curriculum are basically responsible for boosting the students' knowledge and getting them stay up to date with the recent technological updates.
Exactly, so exactly. So that's really great. So as you told about the internship of the students, right? The internships for engineering students, which has been made mandatory. Being from an engineering background, I really understand that why it is important for engineers or any person who's studying in any field, why it is important for them to do internship, because that's the only point wherein you'll get an idea of what you are about to face once your engineering life ends, and that's something which is very important. So now, before moving ahead, I'll just have one of the I guess this is my last question. I think so. I'll be asking you this. So basically, as our topic suggests that Industry 4.0, creating or stealing jobs. What, according to you, Industry 4.0 is? Is it creating jobs or is it stealing jobs? Or there is some other thing in your mind?
I'll again put it in this manner that it is of course not stealing. Maybe it may create, but let me put it in a much better word that it is definitely skilling jobs.
Hmm.
This is what I would like to focus on. It is skilling jobs. Of course, it would create jobs, it would not steal, but it
Hmm.
is for sure skilling the jobs.
Yes. So basically, I have winded up from myself. So I'm done with my questions. That was a great session to have a word with you. But before going ahead, I'll just like you to enlighten us with few words, irrespective of the from the this topic of 4IR, just to give students and viewers a wider concept or a thought which you have in your mind, so that we can get a motivation and we get some direction regarding this.
So, first of all, I would like to thank to all the audience for the patient listenings for this session, and all who is going to watch this on the later stage who had missed this out and to the live part. The organizers for arranging such a nice session. Of course, to you, the charming host of this particular session, Shivang, for putting it up. All the questions in the style and manner, which was really very much appreciated. Uh, and prior we end to this session, I would only say to the, I'll only like to give a small message to all the audience in large that never take down, right? Never go back, never think of or never be in the situation of a phobiatic that you may not be able to do this or that. The only thing that you need to believe is to believe in your own self. Once that is done, you are all good to set, you are all good to break the boundaries. Do not limit yourself to a boundary. Once you understand what is your limit, try to go beyond that limit. Just do not stick to that limit, because the matter you enter into your own comfort zone, you may not be able to grow. Always push your limits, and then sky would be the limit for that. So wish you all the very best, and as I had come to know that presently MBA exams are going on. So my best wishes to all the MBA students and my engineering students. They have been going to have the exams from this June. So we wish them all the very best for their exams and wish each one of the students who have been going for the exams vibrant future.
Thank you so much, sir. So the MBA exams are basically we are done with the exams. Thank you for your warm wishes, sir. So it was a really my privilege and privilege of everyone who was attending this live session to have to interact with you, get a knowledge about the thing which is gonna come to us within a few years. And also, it was really great having an interaction with you, sir. I would like to thank you. And before winding up with the session, I'll also like to thank Shri Sunil Rane, sir, President of Atharva Group of Institute, and Dr. R.J. Ratnawat, Director of AIMS, for giving us such a wonderful platform to interact with masses. And of course, Dr. Shubhilal Agarwal, Director Internal Quality Assurance Cell IQAC AIMS, for connecting us with intellectual capitals across the globe. It wouldn't have been possible without them, so that they can so that they had provided us with a platform during this pandemic, so that we can get connected online and we can continue with this thing. A very warm thank you to each and everyone, to every viewer who was viewing us, every viewer who interacted with us, and a very big thank you to Dr. Bhavin Shah, sir. He gave us his precious time so that he can have a conversation with us and enlighten us with the knowledge he has.
Thank
With a
you so
vast, with a just a knowledge, with the vast knowledge which he has, out of which he just, I guess, gave us just 1% of the knowledge. I will sure that we have more sessions with you, so that we get to know more and more about industries and technologies and everything.
definitely, Shivang. Look forward to it. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
So we'll wind up with the session. So that was a great session with you. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
thank you, thank you, thank you very much.